And you think gas prices are high now? Just wait until you're forced to drive an electric vehicle.
Yeah, and then you won't need gas. I'm a little bit confused, and not just at the weird way she pronounces vehicle. But anyway, she's not a fan of electric cars unless you talk to her about Elon Musk, in which case she and all of her fans think that they're the best thing ever. But she's really been focused on this recently, and not just at Trump rallies last weekend, but also on the House floor, where she introduced an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act to block any funding to the EV industry or subsidizing soldiers buying EVs or even setting up charging infrastructure that would benefit veterans. She doesn't want any of that. And I'm glad that she did what she did because it produced this moment.
If we're going to spend more money on our Department of Defense, on our NDAA, why don't we pay military recruits more money instead of paying for electric vehicles and electric vehicle charging stations? That is an embarrassment, and I think it's an insult to the American people.
Madam Chair and Ranking Member Smith, I have good news in that the NDAA does include a raise for our service members, which is long overdue, but we can multitask.
Yeah, look, I'm glad for the fact check, but come on, that's an unfair standard to apply to Marjorie Greene, that she would have had any familiarity whatsoever with what they were talking about before she said what she said. She's not reading the bill. What do you think? Like, she's burning the midnight oil, just like going through the bill and what does it have? Oh, I hope I can find a raise. No, she makes stupid points knowing that it doesn't matter if she gets corrected because her base is unfortunately never gonna see the correction. So I'm glad that the NDAA has a raise for our soldiers. The fact that she has to use every single opportunity to wage her culture war, that is, I think, bad. And not just for me, not just for lefties. It's bad for the soldiers as well. It's bad for the military as well. There's probably a lot of soldiers that would love subsidizing the electric vehicles, or those who already own them would probably love to be able to charge at their bases. And I will remind you that the military has been saying for years that global climate change is a massive national security risk. Hey, I'm glad you're here. Listen, in order for the damage report to keep on going, we need viewers like you to become a member on YouTube. Can you click the join button on YouTube today? Thank you. The Republican Party claims to care about our security. They claim to care about the military, but not if it falls on the wrong side of the line of the issues that they care about. So we're gonna move on to what's actually going on with the climate and why we feel we should prioritize doing something about it. We've now reached a year straight of 1.5 degrees or more in Celsius above pre-industrial average temperatures. 12 straight months of unprecedented heat. And maybe that streak will be broken briefly, but if that does happen, it won't be for long, because this is not some sort of anomaly. This is the new normal, at least for now. The normal of next year and 5 years from now will be even worse and even hotter. And if you take a look at this, you can see this is over the course of a year, the monthly temperature averages going back since 1940, and you can see over time it's going up and up and up. And for a long time, as you went from year to year, line to line, they sort of clustered a little bit. Can we leave that up for just a sec? And they sort of almost formed like a solid there. But you can see that between 2023 and 2024, there's quite a bit of daylight between those two things. I don't know about you, but I can't wait to find out where 2025 is. But anyway, it's devastating, and carbon dioxide concentrations of the beginning of this year have been the highest in history already. Now 427 parts per million, way above the sort of horror measures that Al Gore was talking about in An Inconvenient Truth. And it's all steady progression. You can bring up the atmospheric CO2 readings. We show you this chart every once in a while. It's just up and up and up and up and up. It's probably like solar activity though. It's probably not anything we're doing. But anyway, this is consequential, and it's not just consequential because of the effect on heat or the effect on, we could talk about like the flooding in Florida. We could talk about the difficulty we'll have in agriculture. But the air pollution that goes alongside a lot of the carbon emissions is already deadly, not just dangerous, deadly. A new study estimated that air pollution has killed 135 million people in the last 4 decades. That is a lot of people. Now, it's over a good amount of time, and bear in mind, Marjorie Greene is unlikely to care about that because that's talking about all people, not just people who had the virtue of being born inside of America. But it's bad here too. If you just want to focus on America first, let's talk about America, Americans, and American lungs. Nearly 2 in 5 have been living with unhealthy levels of air pollution, okay? And the US has experienced a record number of days between 2020 and 2022 with very unhealthy or hazardous air, according to a new report. Overall, 131 million Americans live in areas with unhealthy ozone or particle pollution, an increase of nearly 12 million compared to just a few years prior. So that is causing pervasive, lifelong health problems for more and more Americans, a significant percentage of our entire population. Even if you don't care about all the people who've been dying here and abroad, it's having an effect. And most recently, in 2019, it's believed that over 60,000 deaths could be attributed to this sort of pollution. And it just seems like the sort of thing that naturally conservatives would understand. Like they believe that our world, our environment, our air, water, and land was divinely crafted for us. They believe in theory in conservation, at least they used to. We are poisoning our air and our water and our land, and it's poisoning us back. It's all very predictable. And we could save these lives, and in so doing, not only save the lives, but also forestall some of the global warming that we're seeing. But unfortunately, I don't think that that's likely to happen. And it's especially important to me personally, because I live in California, and in just the last decade, the pollution caused by our wildfires has 52,000 deaths, the study just attributed to it. And look, California is not the only place that has these wildfires. They're becoming more and more common across a greater and greater share of American territory. And you can expect that these numbers are going to go up. Many of those states are red states. And I have the crazy belief that people living there should be protected. Protected not only from climate change and being able to go to a Trump rally without passing out from the heat, in April or whatever, but also from the effect of the pollution and all of that. So just an idea, I don't expect that Marjorie Greene is going to do the research in this. I mean, she can't even be bothered to read the summary of the NDAA.